Greetings to the MED faculty, esteemed guests, and fellow cohort members. I am René, and I welcome you to my presentation of my Master of Education capstone project on student attitudes to math and physics courses at the St. George's University School of Arts and Sciences. Here's an outline of the presentation that I will give. We will start with the motivation for the project, then we will discuss the project's goals, then we'll talk about the process of the capstone project, then the Sakai site, which is the capstone project itself, and then we're going to do a little reflection at the end. The motivation. Here is the problem. So it has to do with observations of constant complaints about math and physics and the poor perception of subjects by the students. Also, low Caribbean secondary education certificate exam pass rates in math and low enrollment in physics generally. Also, my own passion for the subjects and curiosity about whether the problem could be solved have all motivated me to try to solve this problem or investigate it. Here are my research questions. The primary question is, in what ways do students enrolled at the SGU SAS develop attitudes toward mathematics and physics courses? The secondary question is, what interventions based on the results of this research can be recommended to improve students' attitudes toward math and physics courses? Here are the goals of the capstone. To investigate the attitudes that students have towards maths and physics courses and how they develop those attitudes. To develop and find teaching strategies that promote positive attitudes and mindsets towards the subjects. To communicate the findings of my research faculty at SGUSAS. And to create, based on my research, physics course redesign in the form of a Sakai shell site. Now, the process of the capstone was like this. I first reviewed scholarly articles, then I set about collecting data. Then I was able to have the opportunity, unexpectedly, to teach a physics course for 6 weeks, right? And this enabled me to do some research in practice and assume an inquiry stance, then brainstorm and develop ideas for the course redesign, where I would implement elements of my research findings and strategies learned during the MEd course program. One of my goals was also to communicate my findings of my research to faculty, and this was done in the form of the workshop. From the reviews from the workshop and the exit surveys, the workshop was successful. Now we will move on to creating the Sakai shell site. Now the shell site, the product of the capstone, was based on my findings. And if you pay attention to the bullet points on the next 3 slides, you will see what those findings were. So the first one was feedback and support. The students need feedback and support. If we look at this picture, it shows a frequently asked questions tab, which was put into the forums tool on Sakai. Now, this previously did not exist, and it was implemented so that students could receive more feedback by having an FAQ section. This section could also be built on and referred to in each instance of the course every semester. Here we see also the lessons tab was included. The lessons tool was included. It was not there previously as well. So students can have a clearer understanding of the outline and the syllabus of the course They can also, in real time, document their progress with checklists, seeing if they completed the tasks required by them, and also the learning objectives. And the classes are very well and clearly organized. You see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. The other finding was interest and relevance. That matters as well in determining students' attitudes. Here we can see the updated overview page to be more vibrant and serve as an opener to the page when students log in. And it sort of serves as a hook to the entire lesson. So this did not exist previously. Getting to know the students so we can ask them what programs they're enrolled in. This is in polls, in the polling tool in Sakai. We included polling information so that we can find out more about the students and we can tailor our lessons accordingly. And also a variety of engagement tools and engagement means in the lesson. So we have the lecture, but we also have a simulations resource where they can go and look at simulations for physics, practice questions, and a YouTube video, which is very helpful. And all of this is to supplement the lesson and make the lesson more accessible to most students with different styles of engagement to their learning. And then lastly, mindsets was the third finding that influences the attitudes of the students. So we can implement the mindset forum under the forums tool and a mindset quiz that they can assess their own mindsets with. Also, there are reflective exercises where the students at the beginning of the semester will speak about their feelings and their expectations for the course, and at the end, they can put another sentence to speak about the experience that they actually had and compare those two based on their mindset before and after. We also have checkpoint polls so that students and instructors can see which lessons need reviewing the most, and this is also a form of support, and the support will lead to the student having an improved mindset if they realize that the teacher is really giving them good feedback and is with them throughout each step of the process. So in terms of limitations, so it was my first time doing research, formal research, and different professionals gave me different advice on the sample size. I feel like I want to work with a larger sample size in the future, right? It was 55 math and 65 physics surveys as well as 5 interviews. I feel like I would have liked to have more freedom to create and influence my environment. Being in a non-teaching role was a little bit of a limitation, but then I also saw that I had power and agency within that same role, and the MEd helped me to realize that potential. And I was called on to teach and to do other things within the department. Also, the course is in transition, so the instructor for the course is leaving and another instructor is coming in. So the Sakai site is there for a new instructor to for them to use. It can help them, but it's up to them to be open to the idea of using it. So near future plans, more workshops. These can be helpful and not only inside of SU, but possibly outside of SU. Working with course design in my department, expanding the research to secondary schools, students and teachers, piloting research strategies and interventions, and such interventions were discussed in the workshop. And lessons learned, I gained a lot of experience with using mixed method research. I learned that teachers have great power and agency to influence the attitudes and performance of students. Also, students want, they need support. Not all of them need the same type of support. And we have to figure out what type of support each of them need and be able to direct them to where they can get that support. I also learned that students want to see themselves within the coursework and their course of study. They want to see the relevance of what they're doing. So that's the end of my presentation, and these are my acknowledgements. All of you have been very helpful and supportive to me, and I thank you. Thank you for listening.